So for me, the final piece of all of this conversation is about, for me personally, how to come out of the cave in terms of relationship, because I know for a fact that nothing outside of me is going to make me happy, not, a man or a better job or a bigger house, all of that, I know that. And yet, does that mean I'm always, like, how do you then be in that knowing and still be able to relate with a man or with the job or
Yes,
with the...
yes. You're quite right. The implication of this understanding is not that we should never have an intimate relationship. It's not that we shouldn't try to change our job if appropriate, or that we should move house or anything like that. Not at all. The implication is that we no longer look for love and happiness in relationships and objects. We no longer see relationships as a potential source of love. We no longer see objects as a potential source of happiness. That doesn't mean to say that we can't relate with people or interact with objects. In other words, to have relationships, intimate or otherwise, or to change job, to for instance, the desire. You may have, just an example, for instance, before you ever became interested in these matters, you might have been just a regular ego. In fact, you will have been just a regular ego, like all the rest of us, looking for objects, activities, relationships in order to fulfill the sense of longing that lived in your heart. So for that reason, that sense of longing would have propelled you towards certain relationships or activities, maybe employment. Now, you start exploring your true nature. You begin to really taste the qualities that are inherent in your true nature. And you begin to realize that all these objects that you previously went towards are no longer a source of love and happiness. There's a kind of turning around. Now, when you then, and this is what your question is about, when you go back to the world of objects and relationships, you no longer see them as a source of happiness, as a source of love, but you see them instead as an opportunity to share your new understanding. So you may, for instance, feel, okay, I no longer want to do this employment. The reason I chose this employment was because it suited the demands and the fears of the self that I then believed myself to be. Now those demands and fears are no longer operating, or at least they are largely disappeared. So I find that I'm no longer drawn to that kind of work. If I were to choose employment now, I would want to do something that expressed more fully this new understanding. So a desire might arise in you. I want to change jobs. That desire is not a desire that arises on behalf of others. In other words, it's not a desire that comes from a separate self seeking fulfillment in an activity. On the contrary, it's a desire that comes from happiness or love or peace, seeking to share itself in relationship. So it would be very legitimate to choose your job or to have an intimate relationship or to move house for that reason.
As an expression.
Exactly. So it's not, desires are not a problem. Don't feel that you have to abandon your desires. No, what's the problem is to seek happiness through an object. But desire continues after that particular desire. There can still be a desire for an object, but it is a desire not to find happiness, but to express happiness or peace or love or intelligence.
Thank you.